Okay, US, watch this. I'm in Canada. Today's adventure brings us to the top of New Hampshire. Yes, that is the border crossing right there. We will be hiking along the US-Canadian border, going out to the 4th Connecticut Lake. And we'll be heading out towards Canada. Now they're keeping us on the other side of the stockade. Be kind of easy just to continue walking on to Canada. And if you were going to Canada, that would be their border crossing. Doesn't seem as high-tech as the United States one is. Honey, I'm in Canada. I'm in a whole different country than you are.
Hey, baby.
Alright, I found my way back home. Alright, so we're going to take the 4th Connecticut Lake Trail. The 4th lake is 0.7 from here. And the 4th lake with the loop is 1.2 miles. And by the way...
No puppies.
No puppies. We need to log in. Which my lovely wife is doing right now. Alright, so this trail is steep. It does border Canada and the United States. It's been about 10 years since we've been out here. The last time we were out here, we could see all the signs showing where the border was. So if we see any, when we see them, you'll see them. Guess who's on what side? I'd be in the United States.
I be in Canada.
So the trail is steep, as I said. See Cheryl working her way around it. I mean, don't get me wrong, almost anybody can do this trail. But when you're walking on a bum knee, it just takes a little longer than it normally would. This is the view that we're getting. And just so you know, all those mountains are in Canada. Well, they all have Canadian names, let me put it that way. And you know what this means?
What?
There's a whole nother country full of mountains we're gonna have to climb.
Oh boy.
Alright, now the last time we were out here, there were signs in the trees stating when you were about to go into Canada. Now it seems to be just boundary markers on the trail. I am currently in the United States, but I have to go over to Canada because that's where the trail goes. And do we have anything that we have to claim?
Nope.
No weapons, no fruit, no nothing?
Nope.
Alright, moving on. We're just scoping along the forest, but you ever get that feeling that somebody might be watching you? Yeah, I'm getting it right now. Hello. We're in almost a half a mile, so I believe the majority of the steepness is done. It is mucky out here, considering the drought. And we did hear that there's still water in the 4th Connecticut Lake. That's a good thing. Wow, I finally found one of these signs. We saw so many of these 10 years ago. It does say attention, that's all I can read. I presume the rest is French. But coming from the United States to Canada, well, you'd think they'd say something in English too. I guess he's supposed to wait here. I don't know what the signs are for.
I don't know.
Maybe it's his property.
Maybe.
I remember when I showed you we had to cross into Canada to continue on the trail. We're about to cross back into the United States. Boom, we're here. Oh, I hope my ride is here to pick me up. I've been out of the country for a while. There she is. Alright, so come up to this sign that somebody was hungry on. 4th Connecticut Lake, but as I go up, there's a new sign. It says 4th Connecticut Lake, 300 yards.
Nature Sanctuary. Hiking and Nature Study Area. Public welcome. Foot travel only.
Darn. I was going to bring the Jeep. And above that, there's another boundary marker. Boy, this tree better never fall. And we no sooner stepped back into the United States and, honey, what is in that container?
Oh, that's a geocache called Merit Badge Citizenship.
Wow, that is like as close to the Canadian border you can get for geocaches.
Yes, it is. So let's do what we do, and we'll get back on the trail.
Now, the 4th Connecticut Lake is the furthest lake to get to. Well, I guess unless you come from Canada, then it's the closest. But anyway, if you're coming up here, you have to drive past the other three. And here's a quick look at them. All right, so welcome to the 1st Connecticut Lake. This is the largest of the 4 Connecticut lakes. It covers 3,071 acres. And it's the 8th largest lake in New Hampshire. Hey, if you wanted to fish in here, you know what you could get, huh?
What could we get?
You could get landlocked salmon and lake trout.
Huh.
Very, very low.
Yeah, it is very low. Look at that.
Welcome to the second Connecticut Lake. This lake encompasses 1,102 acres. And the fish found here are landlocked salmon, lake trout, and brook trout. But let me tell you, I'm pretty much standing where the water almost used to be. Somebody put up cairns, obviously trying to help the water find its way back. This drought is unreal. By the time we get to the fourth Connecticut Lake, it's probably going to be, well, not there. There is no sign for the third Connecticut Lake, so we made one. Welcome to the third Connecticut Lake. We would have showed you the sign, but there isn't one.
It was missing.
Anyway, this lake encompasses 231 acres. The maximum depth on this one is 100 feet, which explains why it looks in a lot better shape than the last two. And the fish that can be caught in this lake are lake trout and rainbow trout. And there's a lot of fishermen here trying to get them too. All right, we have made it to the fourth lake loop trail. It is 0.5, half a mile, round trip. The lake is out there. I'll give you a better view of it. All right, welcome to the fourth Connecticut Lake. This is what's known as a glacial tarn. Now, all that is a mountain lake that's been formed by a glacier. It encompasses 2.5 acres and only has a max depth of 5 feet.
It's little.
Yeah, it's tiny. But this may be small, but this lake is very, very important. And we'll show you why in a minute. All right, so this is the loop trail. Not really getting any views of the lake yet. That's okay. All right, so we are graced with a view of the lake. And there are residents who live up here.
That's Bob and Barbara Beaver.
Is that who that is, Bob and Barbara Beaver? Okay. Pristine little area right here. Sun glimmering. As the day starts to end. All right, remember how I told you that the fourth Connecticut Lake, being the smallest, is also the most important? Just this little dribble of water that's here. You can hear it running. Every drip of water that passes through this area. And granted, there's not a lot right now. But every drip that leaves here starts a 410-mile journey. Going through 4 states. All the way down to Long Island Sound, where it eventually gets dropped off into the Atlantic Ocean. It is New England's longest and most powerful river. Honey, you know what the river is, right?
The Connecticut River.
That's right, that's the Connecticut River. This is where it starts. All right, so we've almost completed the loop. Funny thing is, we found a letterbox out here. Now what a letterbox is it's sort of like a geocache. We're not letterboxing, so we didn't sign the log or anything like that. But it's funny that we would find our first letterbox ever out here, because the first time we were out here, we found our first geocache. We didn't even know what it was. We're looking at the log going, what do we do with this? So we just put it back. We wrote the name down though, so we could go home and find out what it was. And when we did, we didn't think much of it, because it took us about 7 years before we started Cheryl, what are you doing?
I'm logging this geocache.
You found another geocache up here?
Golden Glider's anniversary. So we'll do what we do and head on down the trail.
All right, so we're back down to the U.S. Customs and Border Protection area, right here at the border. Hey, speaking of that, look, I've never done this before, okay? So, from Canada until our next adventure, the end.
Get back here.